Next on Worcester News Tonight, a look at conditions tonight in central Massachusetts as the nor'easter drops snow over the area. Plus, the weather affecting flights out of Worcester. What cleanup crews are doing tonight to ensure flights are good to go for tomorrow. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Anna Botari. We begin tonight with the weather and what has been a snowy day throughout central Massachusetts. The area is seeing the intensity of the storm picking up this evening, with several inches already on the ground. Our Cam Jandro is out in the storm tonight with a live look at conditions. Cam?
Yeah, Anna, I'm here on Randolph Road in Worcester, and while the snow wasn't so bad earlier this afternoon, it really started to pick up around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The wind is also pretty intense here in the city of Worcester. This is a heavy, wet snow. As you can see, we're in the middle of Randolph Road, and there's several inches of snow caked onto the ground. Driving conditions are still pretty tough in the city of Worcester and throughout central Massachusetts. Earlier today, I caught up with a few drivers who were out braving the elements in the middle of the storm.
I'm a vet student, so I figured I might as well stock up while I can. So if I don't have to go into the hospital, that would be okay. Probably try and go a little bit slower, but I've been pretty good in the snow so far. My car's not too bad, so I'm just going to take it slow. Other people can be a little bit crazy out there. So
very bad. It's very terrible. In fact, it's really bad, and what I can say is I can advise people to stay indoors. They should try as much as possible to stay indoors because it's not quite good on the road.
Probably keeping up with everything, trying to make sure the roads are clear and they're safe for travel.
Now, the city of Worcester is in a winter storm warning until early Thursday afternoon. The city is also continuing its winter parking ban until further notice. Again, we're here on Randolph Street in Worcester. The snow coming down the heaviest. It's come down all day. Driving conditions continue to get worse, and the wind is not helping at all. Anna, back to you in the studio.
Ooh, it looks cold out there. Thanks, Cam. Snow also starting to pile up in Fitchburg. As Perry Russum explains, it could be the jackpot zone, getting the most amount of snow out of anyone in the entire state.
The Spanish-American War Memorial, and the snow continues to come down heavy. The plow truck drivers are out there. It's a little quiet right now, but they've been out there for the past few hours staying ahead of this storm. This is a potential jackpot zone for Massachusetts. Fitchburg could get the most amount of snow, but we're going to have to wait and see on some of those snow totals. School has already been canceled for tomorrow, and there's a parking ban in place until 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. And these plow truck drivers aren't the only ones working hard. People need to eat, and these pizza companies right here in Fitchburg are working just as hard. We spoke with one owner, and his phone...
Once the snow packs up and people look outside and they don't feel like moving, that's when the phone starts ringing, and it doesn't stop until we shut it off. Deliveries get packed up, and we're spending a lot of time out on the road. But our drivers are good. They have good cars, so we're good.
Jamie Roy tells us on an average night they sell about 100 pizzas. His estimation for this storm is 250 pizzas, all because of this snow. In Fitchburg, Perry Russum, Worcester News Tonight.
If you've been on the roads tonight, use caution. Worcester DPW Commissioner Paul Moosey says the snow is wet and heavy, which could create problems for drivers. Moosey says more than 300 pieces of equipment are on the road in hope of getting things in good shape for the morning commute. He says he doesn't predict this storm to be as bad as the one in January, which dumped more than 16 inches of snow on the city.
A bit later in the year, beginning of March, so the sun's stronger, so after a few days things kind of start melting down a little bit.
Moosey says crews will work throughout the overnight hours to clear the roads and asks people to obey the parking ban. The storm also affecting those trying to fly. More than 3,000 flights throughout the U.S. have been canceled, including here in Worcester. Director of the Worcester Regional Airport, Andy Davis, says flights were canceled yesterday in preparation for today. He says giving a day's notice allows for alternative flights to be arranged. Cleanup crews spent the day Wednesday on the runways to ensure they'll be ready to go for Thursday.
We have the latest generation of equipment. Some piece of the equipment does the task of 3 different vehicles: plow, sweep, and blow snow off the runway. So with that in our inventory, we have the capability of clearing a runway, our 7,000-foot, 150-foot wide runway, within 15 to 20 minutes of a snow event.
Davis says as of now, both departures and arrivals are on schedule for tomorrow. Take a look at this video. Oxford police sharing on social media a truck on fire. This happened on Interstate 395 earlier this evening. It caused some traffic delays but has since been cleared. No word on injuries. An overturned tanker truck on Route 190 in West Boylston causing some traffic delays. Massachusetts State Police and the West Boylston Fire Department were on scene around 3 this afternoon. The fire chief says one person was transported to the hospital for minor injuries. A hazmat crew was on scene for a few hours cleaning up. The cause of the crash is under investigation. Almost 1 month after a mass shooting in Parkland, Florida, a central Massachusetts school is taking precautions to keep their students and faculty safe. Wednesday, Quabbin Regional High School hosted an active shooter drill to show the realities of a shooting. Our Brittany Schaefer has the story.
Quabbin Regional High School is hosting a 2-day safety training program with an active shooter scenario. Superintendent Maureen Marshall says the lifelike scenario is sobering. In just 1 minute, this person acting as an active shooter shot a majority of the people participating in the drill.
60 to 70% of you actually just got shot.
In this scenario, participants were told to follow an old emergency plan where students and teachers lock the classroom door and hide. Now, Alice Training Institute is teaching a more effective course of action.
What was once considered best practice isn't necessarily considered best practice anymore. That's why we have this training. There's the need for this type of training to be able to be put in place to heighten people's survivability. It gives them options.
Trainer Sean Kennedy says Alice options include hiding, running, or fighting back. It depends on the situation, but Kennedy says putting people in these drills give them a better understanding of what to do.
We learn by actually getting hands-on, getting experience. You can tell somebody all day long, hey, you can do this, you can do that, you can do this. But once they experience it, they start to establish that connection.
It becomes real because you're saying, are they coming down our hallway? Will it be my classroom? Are they going to burst in here?
In addition to the training, Barrie Police will now have a permanent officer at the high school for better security.
Of all of our population, we see students as needing to have the protection because you just never know. And with the incidents that occur around the country, we wanted to focus our efforts on the school.
Wednesday's training was made possible through a $17,000 grant from the Barrie Savings Charitable Foundation. President Stephen Brewer says it was an easy decision.
We unanimously voted to expend $17,000 to fund this program. It's a bit of reality that makes us all extraordinarily uncomfortable, but necessary to protect our children to the best extent possible.
Now, some of the $17,000 will be used towards new locks on the classroom doors. The superintendent says most of the doors open outwards. Therefore, if anyone unwanted wanted to get inside, they wouldn't be able to barricade the doors. And with new locks, they could keep anyone unwanted from getting inside. In Barrie, I'm Brittany Schaefer, Worcester News Tonight.
West Boylston police are investigating threats made to the town's middle high school over the course of 2 days. According to Mass Live, a pair of teenagers are facing charges after police say one student told classmates he had a gun on school grounds Monday. Police say they were called back to the school the next day for reports of a written bomb threat in the boys' bathroom. No credible threat was found in either case. Both are under investigation. The two students are facing charges in Worcester Juvenile Court. An arraignment today for a Westford custodian arrested for allegedly having a loaded gun on school grounds. 21-year-old James Healy is facing several charges. He was a custodian at Crisafulli Elementary School, but acting on a tip, police found a loaded gun inside the trunk of his vehicle yesterday. Healy isn't licensed to carry a gun. He's now been fired. Every year, the Maine South Alliance honors those who have lost their lives in a fire. A memorial on Main Street recognizes the names. This year, no names were added, meaning no fire deaths in 2017 for the city of Worcester. Our Chandler Walsh has more.
A wreath is placed on a Main Street memorial. The Maine South Alliance for Public Safety's William Breaux says the memorial is inscribed with 55 names, marking Worcester fire deaths since 1986.
We haven't forgot any of these people.
The memorial Wednesday also celebrated no fire deaths in 2017. In 5 of the previous 6 years, Worcester hasn't reported any.
We're a city of over 181,000 people, second largest in New England, And to have that is remarkable.
It means our fire prevention efforts are working. It means our crews are well trained and doing the job that they need to do.
The memorial is meant to honor lives lost in fires around the city, but the Maine South Alliance says it's also meant to remind people passing by to practice fire safety.
People see this, it's right in your face, so to speak, and I hope it's a reminder. Check your smoke detectors.
Next year, unfortunately, the memorial will add names. There have been 2 fire deaths so far in 2018, an elderly man on Brookline Street and an elderly woman on Green Farms Road. Chief Michael Lavoie says the homes had working smoke detectors. He says remembering lives lost shows the importance of prevention.
To prevent fire deaths, you definitely want to take the precautions of working smoke detectors and having at least 2 ways out of the house or the building.
Chandler Walsh, Worcester News Tonight.